What's up, friends, family, and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to another game of high-level StarCraft 2. Today, in the top left, as a Red Protoss player playing for Team Alpha X, it's Astrea. And in our bottom right, spawning as the Blue Zerg, the king of the GSL, it's going to be Dark. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Huge fan of Dark. He is one of those players that tends to provide very interesting games. And the main reason why he provides interesting games is because his early games tend to be extremely wonky and weird. He makes odd decisions in the mid game, he wins with them for no apparent reason, or he loses with them, but then stays in the game and wins in the late game. Dark is one of those players that can literally do anything. It doesn't really matter and he seems to just win with it. I'm not sure if it is because he has amazing mechanics or because his decision making is fabulous or his unit control is the best. It is kind of difficult to sometimes figure out why he wins, but he just wins. Like, his actual skill is just winning, which is a really good skill to have in a game that really only cares about winning. Like, there's no beauty points to be awarded, or oh, you did it in such a elegant way, or you played theoretically perfect. No, Dark builds units, walks across the map, and kills you. And I think that is kind of cute. I like it. I'm curious to see what he's going to be doing. Astrea's opening up with a an off-meta opener, and this is something that we're kind of used to out of Astrea, I think. It's opening up with double gateways after Nexus first, double chrono boosting these adepts as well into Warp Gate. So this could still go technically into Stargate. It is just somewhat unlikely, especially given the fact that we're seeing this Warp Gate not being cancelled. We'll have to wait and see what the actual tech is going to be. This probe moving to the side right now. Is that going to be for a pylon? If that's for a pylon, that'd be really odd. It's going to be a pylon. Stalker Sentry as a follow-up. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm not very familiar with this type of build order. I never play it. I never see anyone play this either. So, yeah, give it to me, Astrea. Show me what you got. I'm curious. Double Adept at least are going to make their way across the map. Uses a battery to fully block this wall as well, making sure that no Link Rambais can get in. This means that right now Dark is forced to pop out 8 links total. These adepts might finish up. Yep, there we go. A couple of drones gonna take it out. Dark. Well, that's another recall. Is that worth it, I wonder? He could have gotten a third drone kill and then lost both of the adepts. Now he saves one adept and kills one less drone. Probably is worth it, right? 2 drones for 1 adept. It's not even that bad of a trade. Can't even like this. Okay, I'm down with it. That was fine. This is really cool, and look at the worker difference here. 37 for Astrea, 29 for Dark. The difference is this big because Astrea is playing a Nexus first, which just has better eco. Third base is being taken. Twilight Council has to follow up as well. So this is a really cool build order that we don't actually see very often. I'm a fan of this type of play, honestly. We now have 16 links on the way. Okay, here goes Dark. Now, this is a typical Dark move. Moving links at a timing where you wouldn't really expect it. It is not in time to cancel a third base, and it's not in time to hit with like a melee upgrade either. Astrea does see a lot of links being produced though, and if he knows what's going on, could just warp in a couple extra units. Link's now trying to move into position. Battery being created in both of these bases, and I don't actually think that Dark can do very much here. He's gonna try anyway, but this is not gonna work, is it? Is it? Sentry's gonna be in the wall by itself now, and these adepts are gonna be caught out a little bit as well. Third base might be vulnerable because of it. This might not have been the move for Astrea, moving towards that natural with these extra adepts. Link count is still relatively high at 36. The worker count, however, is at 30, and for Astrea that's at 50. This is the type of worker count you don't really want to be at. Baneling Nest now is being constructed, but I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to see Banelings be useful here. Adepts are going to be caught out in the open. A couple of adepts at the third base are going to be healed here by the super battery. There is a battery in the natural as well. We're working off of 3 gas. Oh my god, he cancelled the Twilight upgrade 3 times already. He started with Charge, went into Blink, and now it's going to be Glaives. I guess as a result of how weird this game is so far. More links are being produced still. I think this is going to be a +1 Baneling bust here. Another battery is being constructed, gateway for a full wall as well. We still have that sentry and these two adepts not quite on hold position. Probes are going to get taken out. Astrea needs to be so careful. I'm not even quite sure if he can continue rallying on towards his third base with the probes. There's of course that extra battery in the far back, which is going to be useful. We have 7 banelings in production, melee attacks level 1, finishing up in 3, 2, 1, go. The gate count is only at 2 and there's no sentries here available. That means that these banelings can just connect with all of these adepts. This could be a little bit of an issue. Rest of the units from the natural also walking over towards the third base. 6 workers already going down. A couple more will go down once these banelings start to hit. We do still have a single force field as well, which Astrea is going to use. Uses it very well, but I actually do believe that the links might just be too strong right now. Right here, glaive adepts not quite done yet. More banelings moving in. And once again, Dark with a seemingly random amount of units from a random amount of drones is dealing a lot of damage. Worker count still in favor, of course, here for Astrea with 51 against 40, 52 against 40. And if he actually keeps some amount of adepts alive and gets the glaive upgrade, it might almost be possible. It might almost be possible. Problem is just going to be this third base is falling already. And without the third base, I think 10 extra workers just doesn't mean quite as much. After this, I fully expect Dark to go completely into droning. This was all done off of a hatchery tech, by the way. This is just so sick. It's getting a Roach Warren as well. I like the Roach Warren. I appreciate the Roach Warren here. And the reason for that is that if you're playing against someone that gets glaive adepts, it's nice to have roaches. Well, actually, if you have +1 and Ling Bane, you're also fine. So yeah, I'm not actually a huge fan of it. Never mind. I regret everything I said. Okay, this double adept drop is not doing much of anything right now. These glaive adepts near the third base. Are they going to keep this base alive? It seems like they actually are, which is cool. Glaive adepts now moving in towards this base, but will not be capable of dealing too much damage. I don't think so. Links and Banes are already in position, and these adepts, well, at least, no, both of them are just going to get taken out before they finish their shade. 7 more roaches on the way, +1 as well. It feels like Dark almost wants to just go again with a push. I really wouldn't mind if he drones up to 50, 52, 53, 50, actually just 66 drones. I think would be fantastic here. You really do need a bigger drone count, but for some reason he continues building roaches. I'm not sure if those are safety roaches, or if these roaches are here to say, hey, I want to march across the map and kill you. Like, there's different types of roaches, you know, but it feels like he believed he really need the roaches. I don't think that's actually true. He had 42 links available, he had 4 banelings already pre-made, a couple of queens as well. And don't forget the +1 upgrade actually is a big deal as well if you have this many links. So yeah, am I completely down with this? No, not completely. Because as it stands, Dark is still down 5 workers. He's gonna kill this prism though. These 2 adepts will maybe get, what, 3 drone kills? It's just not gonna be enough, right? Good movement on the queen as well, trying to block these adepts. Nice transfuse, another transfuse, and another transfuse. Only 3 workers end up going down. Prism and 2 adepts dead. That was a very worthwhile trade there for Dark. Double Archons are out, Roboway as a follow-up. We have... I feel like I've seen Blink started again. He's absolutely messing with me with constantly cancelling and starting these upgrades. Starting to piss me off a little bit. It's confusing me, I don't like being confused. 5 overlords are on the way. We have +1 as well as a single roach. Once again coming out. Dark is actually just all-inning, isn't he? This feels like an all-in. He's gonna go for a 1-1 roach Lingbane timing attack. As these 5 overlords finish up, yeah, there's more space for roaches right now. That's exactly what we want. Disruptor's going to be out. Second disruptor will be produced as well. But it's not gonna get chrono boosted. I was waiting for the chrono boost, honestly. Because I was ready to say it's being chrono boosted because he wants it out quickly. But it seems like Astrea doesn't actually want it out quickly. This is one hell of a forge position, by the way. It's the first thing to die. That's the first thing you throw out. You gotta go, buddy. There's no place for you here anymore. Yeah, he's gonna suck. 2 adepts on the top side right now. Looking for some potential run-bys. There's 2 adepts on the bottom side as well, looking for some potential run-bys. Dark should be somewhat aware of it. I'm not quite sure if he is. He's not. That means that these adept run-bys could actually deal some damage. Dark once again going back into droning and now getting a Spire as well. It really felt like he was preparing for an attack this entire time. But maybe the answer to that is no, and he wasn't preparing for an attack. Now without Blink, Muras could actually be quite difficult to deal with. We're going to go up to 8 gas, and that means there's going to be a lot of mutas as well. Something that Astrea ideally would figure out at some point. Has he seen the spire? Where is it? Wait, where is the spire? Oh, it's here. Okay, no, he hasn't seen that yet, right? How did I miss that in the main? It's pretty well hidden near the minerals, I guess. Do we have any sentries available? No, we don't. So scouting is, well, difficult without hallucinations and with only a single observer here. The thing is, if you see an army like this, like you see like 4 or 5 Ravagers, you see a bunch of Lings, you're just waiting for the moment where the Banelings are going to morph, right? Like that's kind of what you're expecting. And ideally, you see them already, or you see the Banelings, so you know for sure that they're going to be morphing, but they can morph at the blink of an eye. So you always need to be careful, you need to be ready for Banelings. Instead, it's going to be 13 mutas made with those 2600 resources. Could have been a lot of Banes. But instead, it's not going to be. +2 is on the way. We have 8 Banelings being morphed right now as well. I think these are more defensive than anything. The question for me is, are we going to see more mutas, or is this like a single influx of mutas? And from that point on out, we're just going to see other things, like more Banelings, more Roaches going into Hive. Zealot run-bys dealing a lot of damage in the main base. Bunch of Zealots try to go in towards the natural as well. Will eventually most likely get cleaned up. Adepts and Zealots over here moving in as well. So this was a pretty big send in here all at the same time. 73 workers remained for Astrea, only 62 remained for Dark. Dark still has those muta lists, but they have been revealed. Do we have any type of cannons? No, we're getting some cannons right now in our natural. We have cannons at the 4th, at the 3rd as well. And the main is getting 1 too. Blink is finishing up, +2 is just now starting for Astrea, and +2 has finished up for Dark. That means that this type of run by that we're going to see towards the 4th base is going to be a little more impactful than Astrea ideally would have liked. 5 Stalkers are not going to be capable of dealing with this. Ling run by with a lot of Roaches and Ravagers moving in towards the natural at the same time as well. And these 2 cannons are great, but they're not great at defending against these type of Roach run-bys. A lot of workers are going to end up falling here, and the supply for Astrea currently is just not high enough. Dark in a fantastic position after a seemingly successful attack out of Astrea. Dark just says, okay, I can do the same thing, watch this, and he moves across the map and just starts killing worker after worker after worker after worker. Is already in the production as we speak, and Dark believes that he doesn't need to go for a full-on base trade. I kind of agree with him here. I don't think that is necessary either. A lot of drones are going down on the side of Dark. Dark is getting kind of reset back to 3 bases, and only 1 real mining base here as well. And that is somewhat interesting. So we see, well, Astrea not really getting the connections that he wants to. Double Disruptor not going to be good enough. We have a big recall. 5-6 Archons make it back home. We still have some extra Archons back home as well, but there's nothing really to do with the mutas in the main base. It is 38 supply against 11. High ground Ravager is going to try and deny a little bit of mining here on the on the low ground. Excuse me. Both of these Archons should actually die. We'll lose a couple of mutas for it, but not the end of the world. 28 army supply against 99. Income in favor of Astrea, but just so ever so slightly. Like we're talking like 200-300 minerals a minute. That's just not going to be good enough. 13 extra Ravagers are being morphed. This is a defensive morph, I think. Although with Dark, you never really know. Could just decide to move across the map. I like that he's getting this 4th base. Definitely the correct call. +2. Also a very good call, of course. Resuming the upgrades for the units that you're most likely to be building. On top of that, there's no Hive, so it's impossible to start +3. Could have gone for Carapace, but really not as impactful anymore at this stage of the game when it's less gateway units and it's more Archons and Disruptors. Despite Archon, of course, technically also being a gateway unit. I love the single Ravager just kind of biling from the high ground. As long as there's no Vision there, he will stay safe. But the Vision arrived, and thus he died. 4th base being taken here for Astrea as well. For Astrea, I don't actually think that's possible. I don't really like it either. The 4th base for Dark makes sense because he already is up 10 workers. But it feels like there's just a massive timer right now on Astrea. And he's also down like 100 army supplies. So it feels like there's not a lot of correct calls to be made right now for the American Protoss player. I'm not sure if he realizes how far behind he is. It's sometimes quite difficult to figure that out, that type of stuff. Like you have this base trade scenario. Sure, you lose all your production and you realize that is bad. I mean, Astrea isn't an idiot. He knows that losing every single building in your main probably sucks. But at the same time, he did kill basically the only real mining base left. Well, one of the 2 mining bases left. We still have this third. Yeah, the moment that Dark moves in here with all of these Ravagers, I mean, it's 19 Ravagers, it's a crap ton of links, it's a bunch of roaches next to it as well. Upgrades are fine, and this base is just going to end up dying. We see a recall, but he's just going to recall straight into every single pile, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be all she wrote, as Astrea will need to tap out in 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. There we go, GG. Perfectly timed countdown. Dark wins this game as Astrea loses. Fun opener though. Felt like there definitely was some potential. Kind of want to go back to see where it all went wrong. I mean, losing the third base sucked, but even after that, it still felt like Astrea, like worker-wise, was so good. I don't understand how Dark had so many more units. Even after that, like that massive run by and stuff like that, it really felt like, I don't know, it felt like Dark wasn't in that good of a spot. I just want to see that entire sequence again, because that was the most interesting part of this game for me. So we have like a kind of a triple setup situation, right? So we have this main army kind of moving out to clear some creep. We don't really want to commit to that. Then we have this run by heading towards this bottom side. At the same time, we have the prison moving into the main. I think this is a good sequence. It's right now 171. Resources lost is 6-7 against 4-8. You get this warp in of Zealots. And now this is a little bit of a funky concept, but often if you're delaying the Zerg and killing drones, it's fine to make inefficient trades with Zealots, because Zealots don't make your army much better because of how the baneling works. Astrea should be working off of 8 gas soon, so he's getting more important gas units, while Dark's army isn't going to improve much more from this situation. So if Dark could fight at any point now, he would be pretty happy with that. So despite Astrea losing a bunch of army supply, I mean, he was at 171, he's gonna go down to, maybe pretty low. That actually is a bit of an issue. Okay, so he lost a lot, didn't he? Yeah. Okay, he went from 171 to 135. Does have a lot of gas in the bank, though. Does have a lot of gas in the bank. Depth, at least they're going to be spotting these bad boys. So you can get a couple more. Yeah, but his supply actually is really low after this. Yeah, he legit lost 35 supply in a minute. And then the counterattack just deals a little bit too much damage. And there was nothing ready for the Mutas still. Like, if there was something ready for the Mutas and this attack, that would have been huge. I mean, this was a big move as well. But if he could have just held on and waited like two more warp-ins, I think Astrea would have been fine and in a fantastic spot. Because, I mean, there's no hive, there's no real follow-up here available for Dark. He's going to be fighting against Archon Disruptor with a Baneling Ravager army, so that's not ideal. Alright, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy this. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you, and bye-bye.